that we need not only today, but we need a follow-up tomorrow. We need a lot more of this. And I'm ready for it. So hopefully, here's what you have to do today. You have to obviously keep us locked in the entire time. And then you got to bail. You got to bail because something needs done outside around your house. And on a day like today, you can embrace it. You want to do it. You want to be out there. You want to be a part of it. But just take us with you because I'll be pissed if you don't. We'll see if the Reds can blow yet another big lead. They got rid of the swarm of bees. I was thinking somebody need to call like A.J. Foyt. Didn't A.J. Foyt get attacked by not just once but twice a swarm of bees? Anybody ever been attacked by a swarm of bees? We'll ask Kyle Udemark that. I'm going to guess no. I've said before, I think the most I have been stung at once is 22, and that was damn straight enough right then. Right up the pant leg, and they stayed away from the known areas. But 22 is enough. Those were yellow jackets. They had a bee problem, a bee swarming problem at Great American Ballpark a little bit earlier today, where over the weekend, if you've watched the Reds, they giveth and they taketh away. They give you reason why, wow, this is going to be an up-and-comer. You know what? I feel confident in them. And then David Bell will go to his analytics chart and make us all puke and then make some pitching move and screw everything up. Now, granted, yesterday, while he did that, they also didn't hit from the first inning on. I mean, the big day for them was back-to-back-to-back on 3 successive pitches from Jess Marja. And then after that, they didn't do squat offensively. I don't like it. When Thom says that David Bell's going to his chart, I start to cringe a little bit. I start to get in the fetal position just a little bit because I know that something bad's coming. See if the Reds can hang in. NBA postseason, Kentucky Derby. I got a great question regarding that today. Now, the first thing that jumped into my mind on Saturday with the Kentucky Derby and then going to replay, which they do, and then reversing the winner, I thought, all right, so how much did Robin Miller lose? That's exactly what I thought. How much did R lose? Maximum security or maximum overdrive or whatever, that had to be R's horse. How much did R lose? Which is something we'll have to ask at some point. But here's my question. This probably should be a Connecticut Water question of the day. How many of you out there actually lost money? How many of you did lose? How many of you can actually own the fact that you lost by virtue of that decision? Anybody lose any money? I didn't bet any money, so I didn't lose any money. I was standing at a barbecue joint, and I'll be honest with you, the maximum security, that horse looked like it could have probably won that thing running backwards, to be honest with you. I mean, it was muddy, it was sloppy, and it looked to me, I mean, hell, what am I? I just watch a horse race. I mean, I go out there, I pick the one that takes the dump right before because I believe it's going to be faster. So, yeah, I'm no genius when it comes to that, but I do have eyes, and the eyes saw this horse, like, running away from everybody. And then everybody jumped all over replay. I wanted to, but I didn't. Because I know that they look at that and they have for a long time. I will say this. I do hate replay, and I always have. I was just kind of listening to the folks that have told me all about it and how the process works on Saturday. But I still hate replay. And once upon a time, I loved replay. Once upon a time, I told you to embrace it. I sat right here or in a chair, a different chair in a different radio station, and told you to embrace replay. Embrace the technology. It is going to lead us down the path of being accurate on every call. And what it's done, it's empowered us to piss, whine, and moan about more things, which is probably what we don't need. I don't even know if I call it conversation or debate. I think it is. I think it's like the Triple Crown. It's like piss, whine, and moan. But that was the weekend. So tell me, how much money did you lose? Did that decision, did the reversal down at Churchill Downs cost you any money? any money at all. And if you can own it, that'd be great. The first thing I thought was, how much did R drop? Had to be significant. Just had to. We can bring up that. We can bring up some Colts conversation at 239-1070. Email address is JMV at 1070thefan.com. In fact, I'm going to be at the Colts complex on Thursday. They still do the Chuck Strong Gala out there, and I'm going to be out there. I have not been officially presented a guest list, but it normally is really, really good. And from what I've been told, and this may benefit our new producer here because he's from Illinois, but I believe there are going to be some Bears folks there. Does that excite you? Are you a Bears guy?
The only Chicago team I root for is the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, God. Hey, by the way, that's Kyle Udemark. Kyle Udemark is taking over after 8 years, 7 consecutive years. Tony Donahue moves to the morning and did a fantastic job with Jeff and Big Joe this morning. I was really proud of him. I'm going to be very proud of him. He is still a friend and like a little brother to me, but we have switched some chairs around. Kyle Udemark is here. For those of you that probably know this, Kyle used to be in with Dan. Kyle now is with me. Todd is with Dan. Tony is in the morning with Jeff and Big Joe. Is this a little different for you right here? Because you're going to be counted on to interact a little bit. There's going to be some jackassery, so be ready.
It's going to be a bit different, but I'm ready for it.
Yep. All right, so you're a Cubs guy, which I think that sucks a great deal, but that's all right. That is all right. I do like the Cubs more than the Cardinals, if that helps you out, because the Cardinals make me want to vomit. The Cubs don't make me want to vomit, but the Cardinals do. But I do like the Cubs better than the Cardinals. I don't know what that says.
Well, then you must have been happy this weekend, too.
Oh, well, I mean, anytime the Cardinals can get swept is a good day. I just hate it because then I got to hear from Cubs fans about how the Cubs did it and everybody flies the W. I hate it. You fly the W after every win on social media? Can you stop that?
I don't fly the W. I do wish I had a W flag to fly.
I hate flying the W. And not in front of your house or anything like that. I hate it, the one on Twitter and social media. I hate it when you guys fly the W, which means now I'll get about 19 zillion of them every time they win, which has been really good. Hey, you can't. You look at it this way. They started out with what? 1 and 6. 1 and 6 on the season, and they have absolutely flipped it around. So that has been ultra cool for Cubs fans like Kyle Udemark to watch. All right, so you want to add anything before we start here? A little bit more about yourself. People already know you a great deal. But anything that I don't know about you besides you being a member of Cubs Nation? Nothing?
That's really it.
You're from Illinois? Where at in Illinois are you from?
From the western suburbs of the city. But
oh, man. Is that
it's
where
better than Michigan, though, right?
Yeah.
I know you don't like Michigan.
Is that where Wayne and Garth grew up, where you grew up too? Like Wayne's World?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, pretty close.
They were in, Wayne's World was, what's the, Aurora. They were in Aurora,
It's
Illinois.
pretty close, about 30, 40 minutes.
How about, and I always take where people live and kind of equate it to TV shows. Is that pretty near where the Roseanne, right? Wasn't there a fictional town in Roseanne?
That's a little bit before my time.
Oh, man. Oh, are you younger than Tony?
Oh,
How
yeah.
old are you?
I'm 24.
Son
About to
of
turn
a
24.
gun. Woo-wee. And you're married, too.
I am married. You said Tony's your little brother.
Yeah.
Am I your grandkid then?
Yeah.
Could I be
See,
your
dude. I was late to the party on that stuff, though, so I still have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. So I was a little late, and now I'm going to be 50 coming up in December. Holy crap. So how old are you?
About to turn 24.
You're – good Lord. Wow. You're not even half my age. So I was 20. Holy crap. You were born in 96?
95.
That's just ridiculous. How am I? Wow.
That make you feel old?
No, not at all. 95. That's Kyle Udemark, everybody. Feel free. What's your Twitter handle? And so they can interact with you as well and call you names.
Kyle UIT.
at Kyle UIT. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Kyle Udemark, and he is here, and he is ready to rock, ready to roll with you. We got a big show for you. I'll tell you who's coming up on it in just a bit. I mentioned the Kentucky Derby over the weekend. How many of you lost money? I do want to hear about that. MLB over the weekend, the Red Hot Cubs. We're going to try to hold our breath and hope that the Reds don't blow another huge lead, because that's basically what they've done all weekend long against the Giants. It's been incredible. The analytics sheet put it away. And some MLB will work in there. I will say, without the Pacers, and that's something else we'll get into, I've seen a lot of articles regarding what the Pacers may or may not do. I think a lot of what people are saying about the blue and gold coincides with what I've been talking about with the Pacers, too. I mean, it does make sense. Like, if you remember last week, Kevin Pritchard came on the show, the Pacer president, and he said they were looking, or he thought they needed somebody that was going to be able to break down defenses, drive and dish, just be, overall one-on-one a terror to deal with. And while I completely understand that, I think you got to raise the bar even on a choice of that nature to help benefit this team. And as I said last week, to help benefit this team is twofold. It is to benefit this team during the time in which Victor Oladipo is still down and not ready to come back. It is to benefit this team, if not to shoulder a great deal of load for this team while Vic is down, when Vic comes back, and then up until Vic transforms into what everybody expects him to. Right? Because there is going to be a time when he comes back and everybody's going to be happy. There's going to be euphoria, but how long is it going to take him to be him? He's just not jumping into the old school phone booth and then coming out with the S on his chest. How long is it going to take him, if he gets back to where everybody expects him to be the Vic of the year before last? Then, if everything translates to what the Pacers believe and what the Pacers talk about and what Kevin Pritchard talked about last week right here, if everything does translate to that, then you got some double-barrel action, which is incredibly necessary. And I know it's a lot easier said than done. And I'm not trying to make light of that whatsoever. But if you can sit there and you can tell me that that is not necessary, they need somebody like that. And I know that it is somewhat, well, not even somewhat, it's incredibly general. My thought is, I've said, and I know that others have kind of taken and ran with it too, I've said in general terms, high volume score equal to or greater than Vic. And there's no doubt these guys don't grow on trees. But to me, I mean, you sit around and you kind of bargain shop, or maybe get guys even last year that really didn't work a great deal. You've got to do it right. You got to do it right, and you got to hit it big this summer. You just do. For them to be, I mean, you can go and if you want to be happy about getting back to the first round of the postseason, okay. Not getting swept, but, in first round, taking that the distance, that still feels good. But I'm sorry, you got to raise the bar on this place a little bit, much like we're doing so with the Colts. We're doing the same damn thing there. I mean, they haven't played nary a minute of football in 2019 yet, for real, and you got everybody suggesting after a draft that they're going to go to the Super Bowl, that they're going to rep the AFC. And if you remember, the last time we checked out this Colts team, they were getting run around by the Kansas City Chiefs pretty good. They're getting pretty well owned. And the final score may not ultimately describe that, but they were owned on both sides of the football. So it would just stand to reason that you can look at that and you can feel good about the draft or feel good about the offseason and what they're trying to accomplish and what needs they did address. But does it translate? Most people believe it is going to translate to the field. And also, keep in mind, you have a schedule which is eyeball-wise significantly upgraded, and you have an AFC South, and this is by me, you have an AFC South that is going to be at its best. And to me, it's going to be at its best as to the level in which we've seen it ever. The best. Top notch this year. So really, it's kind of funny, and that's just what happens, right? Especially the conversation in May. What's funny about this is, if you're looking at the season in which a lot of these national folks believe the Colts should have, we got to be talking about Andrew Luck as an MVP. He's going to have to be in that category, right? Or at least if folks believe in them that much, he should by virtue of them playing at that particular level. With that belief in mind at the MVP level? But that's all about raising the bar, and we're doing that very easily with the Colts. And frankly, everybody, you had a great 2 years ago. It was great. The Pacers evolved into a fun team. There weren't high expectations. And then last year you had the injury. Well, you raise it. You take this to a different level this year. And by doing that, you have to come up big this summer. Now look at Puig go up over the wall, and the Reds fan didn't back away. And the ball came out of Puig's glove. Yeah. Was that fan interference right there?
You know what that looked exactly like?
It looked like...
looks like a little 2003 Moises Alou, Steve Bartman right there.
Puig's pretty happy about that. So, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of in the stands right there. Anyway, you guys can't see it, so it does not matter. That's kind of where I view the Pacers, because when you look around right now, and you've got, especially in the East, I said last week I thought Boston was really going to turn it on a little bit and be a team that had been there and done that, and they far from did that against Milwaukee. I mean, really late got blown out. And speaking of getting owned, they got owned. But we'll see how all this plays out. We'll see if Kyrie Irving ends up staying there. We'll see if Kawhi Leonard ends up staying in Toronto. I mean, it's always a combustible situation, you would think, in Philadelphia. Whether or not Jimmy Butler stays, whether anything at all will ever make Joel Embiid happy. My man is Jekyll and Hyde. He will be the most fun-loving, jovial, having a great time when things are going right. But, man, when things are going haywire, to me, he would be one of the worst dudes ever to have on that team. Am I wrong? When he has a bad game, is there always some level of jackassery happening? When he has a great game, I mean, you get guys like Mark Jackson saying it's going to be a real shame one of these days if he is not in the NBA Hall of Fame or the Basketball Hall of Fame. When things are going well and then things are going bad, he looks like, to me, he's the last guy that you would want on his team. Now, the problem I have with that is I'm biased because I don't like the dude in general. It just always kind of seems like, and I know that when you get the superstars and you get the superstar egos, that kind of comes with the territory. But when things go bad for them, when things go bad for him, he just makes it worse. Almost every time. Yeah, I saw how things went at the end of the Golden State. Golden State just said, you know what, we're going to win this thing anyway, so the hell with it. Down the stretch. Yeah, don't even try. I tell you, it is tough. It would be tough to be a superstar and to be blocked by Stephon Rim like Steph Curry was. Stephon Rim reached up at the end of that game and just sent his stuff right back. I don't know if I could trust Houston. I mean, Houston was not going to get swept. It just wasn't going to happen. We'll see if that kind of stirs the echoes a little bit down there, or if all that does is kind of delay the inevitable. I think that it delays the inevitable. Hey, Gary Harris had a really good game last night. Gary Harris has had a nice series. Gary Harris is fun to watch. Most people kind of forget, other than when I bring it up, because Gary's dad's a friend of the show. But Gary plays in Denver, so you don't get a lot of conversation about him. But, man, did he really help that team in a variety of ways. Win in Portland last night. A variety. It's funny. Just when you get sold on somebody, you get a significant reason no longer to be sold. Boston's been there. Milwaukee's been there. Philadelphia is there right now. Toronto has been there and is just basically a bad loss away from being back there. Denver's been there. Portland's been there. Houston's been there. The only team that's not there is Golden State. That's it. That is the only team. And we try to talk ourselves into a lot of things, don't we? We try to talk ourselves into, well, it's going to be a much tougher road for Golden State. It's not going to be a cakewalk for them like it normally is. And you bring that up about as much as you bring up, well, this is probably going to be a swan song for Tom Brady. There's no way he's going to be able to continue down this path of brilliance, of helping quarterback the New England Patriots to a Super Bowl. How many years have we been saying that now? It's kind of interesting. When equated to Golden State, well, Golden State just not what they were. You know, and Boogie Cousins injury and Andrew Bogut, but it just doesn't matter. It doesn't. And it's kind of like Tom Brady, that whole storyline. So we'll discuss that and more. How much did you lose if you did lose by virtue of that Kentucky Derby decision on Saturday? 239-1070. We'll talk about that. The NBA, the Pacers, off-season-wise there. The Colts. We can work in some MLB if you want. I know my man Corey. I tell you what, Corey, I'm going to take a break and come back. But you can lead with touting your Cubs on the other side. You'll make Cubs fans, including our new producer, Kyle Udemark, very happy. Stephen Holder's going to join us on the show from The Athletic a little bit later on. And he was Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana, and he's going to IU. He's from Center Grove, and he is a really good kid. Trace Jackson Davis is going to join me coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And I don't want to forget about this, too, because Miss Basketball was Jory Allen, and Jory is from Bedford, North Lawrence. Jory's dad, Jeff Allen, was from Eastern Green, my high school. He went and had a nice high school career at Eastern Green. That's back when it was Eastern. He played a couple of years at Vincennes. He transferred from Vincennes to DePaul and played, was on those teams. I don't know how much he played, but he was on those teams back in the day when DePaul was really good in the early 80s. And he married a teammate's sister. If you remember, it'll occur to me in a second. But he has had 2 daughters now play in the Big Ten. He has a daughter, Jenna, that plays in East Lansing for Michigan State. And his daughter, Jory, just won Miss Basketball from Bedford, North Lawrence. And she will play at IU. And Jeff Allen is the head coach of Bedford, North Lawrence. I just want to give a quick shout because there's a little Owensburg, Indiana, a little Greene County to be had right there. Brett Burkholder was his teammate's name, and he married his teammate's sister, and they have raised a family down in Bedford, and he's been the head coach of Bedford North Lawrence. Bedford North Lawrence has always had a terrific, and I mean a great girls basketball program, and it continues. And Jory Allen's going to IU, and she was Miss Basketball too. Mr. Basketball, Trace Jackson Davis, going to join me a little bit later on. Stephen Holder as well. We have Meekum tickets. That is coming up next week. We have Grand Prix tickets. That is coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about that. And we have Slayer tickets. Quick question for Kyle Udemark before the break. Do you know who Slayer is?
I know who they are, yes.
What is Slayer, really quick?
I know they're a rock band.
People are going to cringe a little bit. They're going to say it's a thrash metal band. Thrash metal.
I mean, that's nitpicking.
It is, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Udemark. You have stuff to win. We'll do some calls and a lot more on a busy Sunsplash Monday with you next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
late. JMV, how about some love for correctional employees? This week is Correctional Employee Appreciation Week. I had no idea. Hey, Scott Fitch, are you a walking boss? If you're a walking boss, you got to call the show sometime. I did not know it was National Correctional Employee Appreciation Week. Man, it's a walking boss. Hey, Scott, where are you a walking boss? Let me know. It's from Jeff Hansen. Hey, JMV, a big shout out to my lovely wife, Brittany Hansen, 4th grade teacher at Promise Road Elementary in Noblesville. Hashtag Teacher Appreciation Week. Oh, hey, JT, man, this makes plenty of sense. I had $20 across on maximum security courtesy of Gutshot Greg. That figures. JT, you're hosed by Gutshot. See? That's what you hang around with Gutshot. That's probably what's going to happen right there. That's tough. You guys are great so far. Hey, JMV, did you see the Pacers were promoting that McDermott shot 44% from 3 this past season? What a misleading thing. And I'm not anti-Doug McDermott at all, but he might have shot that. I'm sorry. I can't remember a time when it really did. Maybe a couple here. I watched every minute of every game. And he still did not bring this year what, to me, was hoped in a three-point shooter. I'll give you a great example of it. And these guys are not the same, I'm not trying to say. But the move that Kevin Pritchard tried to pull off is very similar. And that move was J.J. Redick. And J.J. Redick, as Kevin Pritchard told us on a couple of different occasions on this show, that was, in football terminology, was on the 5 as far as bringing him in as a free agent. Now, if you remember, you go back to the wintertime, and Redick was on a podcast someplace and said the reason why that he chose to return to Philadelphia was because the Pacers would not add a couple of years onto a deal. He said he was all but packed and ready to go, but the Pacers chose not to add, I think, an extra couple of years, I believe. That's at least how he explained it on this particular podcast. And you can't compare the two there. I like McDermott. I mean, maybe you want to talk about, coaching, or was it that? Playing time. The problem with McDermott, too, he got 0 clock in that final game. Not a minute in that final game, the 4th and final game. So I would tend to agree with you. I think that stat is incredibly misleading. Now, if I were them, I'd be saying the same damn thing. But it is misleading. Eddie in Silverdale, Washington writes this. Hey, what's up? How far will the Colts make it this year? I say the AFC Championship game. I love the show. I think that's where most people believe around here the bar will be set. Is AFC title game, and I'm sure that is incredibly unfair. That's just the way that it is, so can't cry about it. They just be happy that everybody's in love with you. I mean, hell, nobody was in love with you last year. It's a complete 180. Going into the season, everybody was, is Andrew Luck ever going to – remember all the stories regarding Andrew Luck never going to play again? Andrew Luck can't throw again. Andrew Luck's arm just fell off at the elbow. Andrew Luck wasn't going to do this. Andrew Luck wasn't going to do that. And there was still a great deal of hope. And you were hoping until you actually saw the product. But it's a 180 right now with thoughts on this team in 2019 compared to what we thought about it going into 2018, which is something we'll discuss coming up here at 5 o'clock. Stephen Holder, The Athletic, will join us then. Trace Jackson Davis, Mr. Basketball, the state of Indiana from Center Grove. He's going to IU. Will also join us. Kyle Udemark is in studio. He is the new producer of this show. He'll keep you updated on things that are going on, including the Reds and the Giants this afternoon at Great American Ballpark. Quick break. We'll come back. Next hour, phone calls at 239-1070 and a busy 5 o'clock hour and stuff for you to win. Other side next.
There's never an excuse for missing anything on The Fan. 1070 The Fan on connected devices and smart speakers. 1070thefan.com. 1070 The Fan app on iTunes and the Google Play Store. For a full list, go to 1070thefan.com/listen. Plus, you can listen to all the shows by subscribing to the podcast. Take us anywhere and everywhere you go. FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan. Your home for indie sports.
Hello, this is Rob Evans. At INHP, we believe everyone in Indianapolis deserves
Exactly how much Robin Miller may have lost. I was guessing a lot. We had Greg call up and say that he won over $1,000 because of that change in decision. Now, we talked about the NBA postseason. Quick shout to Gary Harris of Hamilton Southeastern, former Mr. Basketball. Dad's a friend of the show. Really, really happy with the way that he has performed in the postseason. His first time there, first time with Denver. I think the third youngest team in the NBA and battling right now. I look at these teams, and I think together they would probably struggle in trying to take down Golden State. And I know what you saw the other night with Golden State and Houston. You're saying, well, Golden State quit. Golden State can be had. Look at the night. Look at the night Steph had. Look at the night that, Klay Thompson had, I think, too. But you look at that, and Houston at home and still that firepower still barely got it done. I thought going into the weekend that the biggest challenge that Golden State could have would be in the NBA Finals with Boston. And then Boston gave me every reason to forget about why I talked them up in the first place, because they didn't look ready, anywhere near ready for prime time. And I know what you're saying. Well, how can a team like Boston with the Pacers competing at that level without Vic be a pick? It just, when Boston looks good, when Boston looks at their best, then it's tough to argue. Now, even with Giannis, or even with Philadelphia with their trio of guys, or Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, it's tough for me to think that somebody is going to bag him in a 7-game series. But now the Bucks, I think, gave us all the indicators. I'm assuming that one of these teams in the East will absolutely step up. Maybe Milwaukee's in the process of doing that right now. And I would give Toronto the benefit of the doubt, but Toronto can't be trusted. Even with Kawhi Leonard. I know there's no history there with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, but Toronto in general, history will tell you that they can't be trusted. So that's a thought on that. We talked about the Pacers as far as free agency is concerned. Couple of different bars we want to set here. We know where the bar is set by national folks, and I think coinciding with local people now, where the bar is set for the Colts coming up in 2019. Fair, unfair? I mean, that's just what we talk about. Honestly, Pacers fans, where do you set the bar next year? Even before that, where do you set the bar in free agency? And I know that I'm making it incredibly simple, and I utilize general terms about, well, this is, X or Y player that is necessary. I kind of describe what type of player they need, and always, I think we always kind of equate it to or point the finger at Kemba Walker being that type of player. But after having Kevin Pritchard on last week, and then after hearing Kevin Pritchard talk about this team and the expectations coming up in the summertime, where are yours? Where's your bar being set with the Pacers in the offseason? It's funny, you look back, and again, hindsight's 20/20. It's really easy to do this. But you look back at the offseason, and you can see what the Pacers front office-wise were doing. You can see them working. We came out of that 7-game series with Cleveland and that first-round loss with, got to have more punch off the bench. We like Lance, but, right? And you bring in a guy in Tyreek Evans that averaged 19.5 points per game, and you're saying anywhere in the ballpark is going to make you feel good. And he wasn't anywhere in the ballpark with anything. I mean, in fact, you might be able to come up with something right now, but it's not too far-fetched to struggle a little bit or be compelled to take a while and trying to come up with somebody that has disappointed in one season and did not live up to the expectations, even close to it, as Tyreek Evans did. Now, I mean, you can look at it as no harm, no foul for a couple of different reasons. One is 1-year contract, don't have to bring him back, done, right? All right, it was a chemistry experiment. You want to see if this guy had it on a winning type of team and not just a bad team, and he didn't have it. You can also view it as, all right, you're down your guy, so it wasn't going to work out the way that you had planned in the summertime when you made this signing in the first place. You know, I mentioned Doug McDermott last hour. Doug McDermott, in comparison with J.J. Redick, was somebody that they had their eyes on first. There is no comparison there. 44%, 41% from three, there still is no comparison. And Kyle O'Quinn was coming in to be that backup. If two big guys have fouls, he's going to be that backup. But where are you going into this offseason with the expectations? You believe, and I'll give you two different examples. You can go with the J. Michael of the Indy Star example, and I think that is completely logical to think that this is what they may end up doing. And that is Terrence Ross, that is Danny Green, that is the level of free agent acquisition, which again is logical. Or are you looking for something bigger than that? You think they go bigger than that? If they go bigger than that, are they going to have to find somebody, a trade partner, find somebody to trade? You know, just how much do they want Bojan Bogdanovic back? How willing are they going to be? Who else out there is going to be willing to raise his market value overall because they're looking for a shooter? And how much might that cost the Pacers if they do want to re-sign him long-term? Because as we talked to Kevin Pritchard last week, I'm assuming at some point that there is a threshold. There is going to be a level in which, and this goes back to exactly how Chris Ballard handles things too. I mean, there's a level, there's a threshold in which that they would be willing to go, maybe willing to pay in a trade or in free agency that within their analytics or their thought, their brain trust, they are not willing to surpass. Where is that with this team? Ooh, I'm getting a lot of Monte Ellis's here. Monte Ellis was a longer-term one. For the short, they still pay Monte Ellis, too. That's got to make you sick. This is from Jennifer. Considering Vic's timetable is to be determined, I'd be happy the Pacers make the playoffs next year and win a few games in round one, keep building and adding what they need. They trade Domas. I will not be happy. And by the way, welcome Kyle Udemark is what she says too. Man, at some point, it's what I asked last week. At some point, and then everybody says, well, you don't have to, and then, give you compelling reasons as to why they probably will have to, which makes no sense, but whatever. I just can't see it. Hope to be wrong. See, Jennifer, you bring up the argument of considering Vic's timetable of return. Barely make the playoffs, happy to make the playoffs, win a couple of games. I mean, and I'm sure they're probably not thinking that because it's probably out of the equation financially, but you need somebody that's going to be able to shoulder the load. And then once Vic gets back and again, cross your fingers and hope he's going to be what you expect him to be or what has been described that he is going to be, then you got a little double barrel action that you haven't had around here. That is just a thought. So you guys want to play off of that? JMV, my radio shuts off of the truck when an incoming call comes through. Every time your elongated pauses occur, I'm sure my wife is calling me. No, that's just me breathing, brother. I need to have this, what is that commercial? The the balloon, sign you. I need that bad. I don't know who does that in this building. And no, this is not some type of facial thing to try to make me look even more handsome and chiseled than I am. No, balloon sinuplasty is that thing I can barely breathe out of my nose. Like if I were at a party, if somebody were throwing a party and I got really drunk and then they thought it'd be funny to slap, like I passed out and they thought it'd be funny to, I don't know, Kyle, like at your party slap on a ball gag or something, right? Then I would suffocate. Because I got nothing happening here. And I snore like a freight train. It is awful. So I need balloon sinuplasty. And I don't know who has that down the hall, but those that advertise here, if you want me to do a testimonial, yeah, you guys can crack this open and create a new sinus cavity or canal or whatever. But that's why, buddy. Matthew writes this. How about Aaron Holiday, the backup for Kimball Walker? I think Aaron Holiday is going to be their logical backup. And again, as I said last week, to me, Kevin Pritchard really wants, and I mean really wants, Bojan Bogdanovic back, as he told us. But I don't know about anybody else. Anybody else with the expiring deals? And then you're going to get into cost. JMV, the Pacers are always trying to score a low-risk, high-reward player. We always go after players on the decline of their career. Hope they produce. We need to go after a player of all-star caliber. And listen, real Michael McDonald, I sit here just like you do, and I make it sound like it's easy. And I know that it's not easy. But we have been around here for a while, and I think at some point in time, I mean, sell this place, sell somebody a high volume equal to or greater than Vic score. Just do it. I mean, offer up as you have right now some sweet sense of cash and see what happens. Easier said than done, though. I realize that. Hey, JMV, the Reds have been entertaining and even worse, frustrating. Iglesias giving up home runs on a changeup. Iglesias, correct me if I'm wrong, has he not had 5 losses as their closer, their stopper? He's a gas can. He's the closer. Look that up, would you, Kyle? Iglesias, the Reds stopper. I believe he has 5 losses on the season. I mean, when you think about it, they never get, I guess today they did, right? But usually they never get everything at once.
He does have 5 losses on the season.
5. Your closer has 5 losses.
5 losses and 6 saves.
I'm not laughing. That's not funny at all. That's terrible. But they never have anything click at once. All right, pitching's great. Starting pitching's great. All right, your closer fumbles things up. Starting pitching's great. You don't have any offense. You have great offense? Well, this is just a particular night where your starting pitching doesn't go very deep. Or David Bell reads his analytic chart and decides to take somebody out that has given up 2 hits in the 5th inning because analytics say so. Just never today, okay, but never anything consistently all clicking. I do like, I mean, what's not like to me, what's not to like about guys like Dietrich? A long way to go. All right, 239-1070. Bruce wants to ask me about my hair. Is that true? Bruce, you want to ask about my hair?
JMV, how you doing?
I'm great.
Hey, just wanted to call you. I went into PAI last week, and Lady and I, they were really great to us. I'm not trying to
nice
kick them or give them a blow or anything, but I know you went to ISU. I'm from Terre Haute, and anyway, I just wanted to call in and say thanks.
We like our hair. I mean, are you getting some new hair, some new real hair?
Man, I think we're gonna go for it.
You're gonna have that butt cut back like you're in Terre Haute, parted right down the middle and butt cut and feathered back sooner rather than later, Bruce.
Right, man. I'm a South Sider now like you, but once I get it done, I'll come in and we'll have some bourbon and talk about it.
We'll have some bourbon and feather our hair together. That sounds great, Bruce.
Yeah, I'll talk to Todd and those guys. Great people.
They are.
Hey, thanks a lot. Enjoy your show. We'll see you soon.
There you go. Listen, advertiser, I'm just telling you. What is wrong with you if you're not doing ads on this? Boom, right there. Right there. And that's not for anything. That's not like going over and that's not an ad for a cheeseburger or anything. That's an ad for hair. Real growing hair. It's a procedure right there. I'll sell your procedure. What's wrong with you guys? Boom, done. Seriously, I'm just one of you. I might even be a little bit worse than you, to be honest. I'm one. We are all so in the same gang. How we all think alike. You just like me. I didn't want to go anywhere this weekend. I didn't like Saturday. I mean, the weather, the way that it was, I just wanted to stay home, and I sit around all day and try not to eat so I can eat really nice at about 6 o'clock. Yeah, I think that's described as boring, but yeah, maybe so. Yeah, give me your product, especially you out there that have the, the business, the small business owners. I love to help the small business owners. I saw my man Fanger a little bit earlier lurking around here. I like Fanger's a good man. Got a little business going there. Staying busy thanks to you. I wish I had one of those zero turn from the mower shop, though. My man Fanger does yard work and does a great job landscaping and yard work. Southeast side around Beach Grove. Jeremy Fanger, and we try to get him business. He is the small business owner, and we love you. Michael's at 239-1070. Michael, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good. I think the Pacers need to go after Klay Thompson with everything they've got. He would fit ideally with the defense and his offensive shooting. Kawhi Leonard, obviously, the same. And then you got to get creative with the contract, to get someone to come to a small market. And for the Colts, I think it'd be worth trading maybe a first, second, even third round to get interest in Barkley from the Giants running back. And I just want to say it's probably the greatest show in the history of radio with Kyle now on the show. This is Eddie from H.H. Gregg, so I just wanted to let you know that.
I was waiting on it. Hey, here's one thing. You guys may see this. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube or not, if you guys watch on YouTube. But I told Kyle this, and Todd walked in there a little bit earlier. So I got hit in the jaw last weekend, right? And I got a tooth that's just about ready to fall out in the back. And I've got it, the super dentist, I got an appointment next Monday to get something done with it. But I swear to you, it's going to fall out of here pretty soon. You'd be pretty excited if I lose a tooth here? Because Kyle can, see me here, and I'm, messing with it. It's driving me insane. But I couldn't really get any – I've got so much stuff to do this week that I couldn't make the appointment. The super dentist is going to mess with it coming up next Monday. But this son of a gun may just fall out right here.
There's no shot you make it till next Monday.
There's no way it's going to make it till next Monday. There's a huge hole right here, and I can't stop messing with it. I may get the old JMV 88 lisp going here again. Hey, JMV, I wanted to laugh at the guy that just said to trade a third-round pick for the Giants to Barkley. The front office is dumb enough they might actually do it. Oh, the Giants front office is what you're saying. JMV, on Wednesday, Ed Carpenter will be at my work with one of his rides. Are you going to go on the JMV Suck sticker on the ride? I had to check. Tony, with racing, is still did. Oh, yeah. Doug Ball. No, I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I have not heard from Ed Carpenter, and I frankly think that Ed Carpenter's pissed off at me. This is true. I shared this a little bit earlier with Kyle. I actually called Chris Hagan, and then I said, yeah, I'm not going to bring it up on the air, and that lasted all of an hour and a half. So, yep. I think Ed is mad at me for some reason here. I don't know why, and I think if he's mad at me, it might be about my constant discussion of the JMV Suck sticker. Now, I wouldn't know why, because I have picked Ed Carpenter to win the Indy 500 5 consecutive years. And many out there would suggest that he has no bigger advocate anywhere around here than he does me. I don't think anybody talks him up, talks about him, talks about anything that he does more than me. But something smells rotten here. You think I can... so, anyway, I better not say that. No, I will. Tony was it. Yeah, I will. Don't laugh. So Tony was at Rev, and I don't know if you saw those pictures. Tony and McKenzie were on, which was absurd. Tony and McKenzie doing Rev on the red carpet on Saturday. And Kyle, I told you this. Tony walked up to Ed and said, "Yeah, I want to do an interview." And he said, "Quote, this is from Tony now. Quote, you're not JMV, so I can do it." Now, what does that mean? That sounds like somebody's mad at me. And I have zero idea. And here's what worries me. Here's what worries me is that normally I know when I make somebody mad. I don't like not knowing. So I think so. I think somebody's mad at me. You keep mushing him. What's that mean? Mushing him. I don't get that, Matt. No, I backed him. It is support. I have supported him and continue to support him. There is zero reason to be mad at me. None. I would challenge anybody out there to find a reason to be mad at me. You cannot find a reason to be mad at me. Even if you completely dislike me for no reason, you can't find a legitimate reason to be mad at me other than, well, I just dislike you. Without knowing. That might be the story. Holder at 5. Trace Jackson Davis won Mr. Basketball yesterday. Was awarded that honor, and he was going to. It's interesting too. Trace Jackson Davis. I played pickup with him last Tuesday, and he wins Mr. Basketball. 5 days later? Coincidence? I think not. Quick break. Back with you next.
There's never an excuse for missing anything on The Fan. 1070 The Fan on connected devices and smart speakers. 1070thefan.com. 1070 The Fan app on iTunes and
doubt what this means. Matt Murray says you keep mushing him, that's why. Is that Kyle Udemart brought this up. Mushing is a fictional character. Eddie Mush was a degenerative gambler. He was the world's biggest loser. He was mush because everything he touched turned to mush. Hey, the JMV suck sticker got slapped in the wheel well a year ago of Ed Carpenter's ride, and he finished second. He was a smidge away from winning the whole damn thing for a first time. So there's no mush here. None at all. No mushing happening. I think there is something there, though. Full disclosure. We got to get it figured out. I put Chris Hagan on it a little bit earlier today. We'll see if he can come up with something for me. This is from Mike in Beech Grove. The Cubs win a series against the Cardinals, and all the Cubs fans come out of the woodwork to crown them World Series champions already. First weekend of May. What a bunch of homers. I love Mike and Beach. I wish the Reds would do something substantial so I could start talking them up, man. I'm still kind of waiting here. Still waiting. Hey, JMV, curious. Any news on Deion Kane? The media is already covering Paris Campbell like they did Deion Kane last year. Thank you. I know that Matt Taylor, former producer of this show and voice of the Colts, had an interview with him. This might be a month ago. I think somewhere on Colts.com where he talked about he's feeling good about where he is. And, you do and say all the right things right now. But regarding Deion Kane, I'm not suggesting that he is not going to be what people describe him or how people describe him. But you saw a week of it. You saw a week. And there is a long way to go between how Colts fans describe their belief in what he's going to turn into compared to what you actually saw. I mean, that's a long way to go. Hey, JMV, the sticker cost him the race, too. It was too much weight. Well, that's inaccurate. Hey, JMV, you got a new guy across from you right now. What's his name? His name is Kyle Udemark, and Kyle's doing a great job over there. Now, you can jump in anytime you want. JMV, as Cubs fans, the fans even annoy me. So loud when whining and complacent when losing. Now, they're winning right now. There's every reason why Cubs fans should be excited, even though it's still early May. I would be. I'd be excited. There's a Cubs fan right across from me.
What's worse, Cubs fans cheering that their team's doing well, or the people complaining that Cubs fans are cheering doing well?
I'm going to give you a 3-star question right now. What's worse? Cubs fans whining when losing, incredibly arrogant when winning. Cardinal fans arrogantly proclaiming themselves, per usual, as the best fans, the most educated fans in baseball, or Reds fans like me who schlep rock around all the time how, oh, woe is us, we're never going to win again. And I'm not even a Cincinnati sports town fan. I just grew up a Reds fan, but that's just kind of the mentality of the Cincinnati market in general. It is the most schlep rock market now, with good reason, because a lot of crap have happened to them. I mean, if you look back, if you go all the way back, to wire, go all the way back to the Big Red Machine, then fine. But basically, from 1990 on, there's been nothing but reasons for them to be schlep rock. So we are constantly whining about everything. You, when you win, you're the greatest thing ever. When you lose, it sucks, but you still have a great party and you get drunk at Wrigley. And Cardinal fans feeling as if they are above everybody else. So who's worse in that trio?
Cardinal fans are by far the worst.
Above absolutely everything. You know what? We're the most educated, the smartest, incredibly distinguished baseball fans. We understand it. I mean, they kind of took on the persona in the day of Tony La Russa because that's kind of how he felt. I'll be honest. I think that me, the Reds fan, is about the worst because and I say this all the time, I can't stand the people that whine about the whiners. So I try not to do that, but inevitably when I start talking about the Reds, I start whining. I guess that's just me whining, though. It's not really whining about the whiners. I just find myself, I'm complaining after a month and a half, the way that the manager's handling the bullpen. Or double switch this and captain hook that and analytics chart here. I'm complaining about that and it's early May. So that's me, a Reds fan. I'll say this about Cubs fans. It seems like that the party goes on no matter what's happening. And I do kind of like that. I like the fact that you win and you're going to party and you lose and you're still going to party. I do like that. But I can't get with you. I think it's probably me. As a Reds fan, that is probably me. I'll tell you what. I just got a text here. We might do this coming up on the other side. I think Trace is ready. We might do Trace coming up here in the next couple of minutes or so. Trace Jackson Davis, Mr. Basketball, and he was awarded that honor yesterday. Jory Allen was Miss Basketball in the state of Indiana from Bedford North Lawrence. And the daughter of a friend of mine from Eastern Green named Jeff Allen, who was her coach down at B&L. But Trace Jackson Davis from Center Grove, both, by the way, are going to attend IU. But Trace Jackson Davis, Mr. Basketball, state of Indiana, is scheduled to join us. I'll tell you what we'll do. Take a quick break, see if we can't get him on the line, and get the Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana on next.
Mecum Auctions provides you a chance to win a free behind-the-scenes tour with big
Chuck Strong event at the Colts Complex on Thursday. I'm going to have a ton of Colts interviews for you coming up on Thursday. And then out at IMS. I'm at IMS on Friday. Doug Bowles will join us out there. And then I'm doing a pre-race show, I think with Tony, coming up on Saturday as well. So we're booked solid later on this week, which should be fantastic. All right, he's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He is the Mr. Basketball for the state of Indiana. And he's a Center Grover. Trace Jackson Davis joins us. I know there's a lot to be made, and we'll talk about the honor, the award that you received last night. But my big question is, are you playing pickup hoop with us tomorrow night over there? That's what I want to know. Are we doing it? We playing again?
Yeah, we played again.
Dude, I can't. It has been fun to watch you to really grow into what you have become. Obviously, the Mr. Basketball and what you've done at Center Grove. How special was that award in front of you, your family, and those that you care about the most last night?
It was just all the hard work that I put in throughout the 4 years. It's just finally concluded with that award. It just kind of just summarized my high school career and just how much work I put in to get to the place where I am right now.
Did you feel that you were going to get it, or I mean, there are a lot of names in there. I mean, this state has been blessed with you and others a great deal of talent this year.
Most definitely. I think it could have gone to any one of us, honestly. You got Brandon Newman up north putting up crazy numbers, and then you got another player in the city with Armand Franklin, and then Luke Bumbalow's doing his thing out there in Newcastle. So it could have been any four of us that could have gotten it. He's
Trace Jackson Davis of Center Grove. He's the Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I think this is cool, too, because I know that the older folks want to draw like enemy lines between, well, this guy's going to IU, this guy's going to Purdue, he's going to Butler, he's going out of state, whatever. But you guys are all pretty tight. You guys are pretty close friends, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. We're really good friends. I know they were proud of me when I got it, and if one of them would have got it, I would have been the same way towards them.
So no doubt about that too. All right, what's your summer agenda? I know you're going to be doing a little Indiana Kentucky All-Star Game stuff, which comes up here in June. But what else is on the table for you besides graduation? I guess, right? So.
Yeah, it's just graduation, and then the Indiana All-Star Games, and then I think I report down to IU like June 12th or the 15th, somewhere in between there.
When you look back at your career at Center Grove, what do you see as far as your growth in that basketball program?
Well, my coach really set out a four-year plan for me. So I started off as a freshman just kind of down low, just getting rebounds and scoring putbacks and stuff like that. Then my sophomore year, I grew out a little bit, and he let me kind of dribble the ball a little bit. And then my junior year is really where I kind of exploded on the recruiting scene. And then I kind of just took that and just kind of polished my game for this year. And so it was just really just about me maturing into my body since I grew so quick and just playing as hard as I can every night.
I was going to ask you that too, because you did grow a hell of a lot quicker than a lot of folks. How was that to deal with? Because you have awkward stages, Trace, in general, just as you're growing up. Anybody does. But when you have that growth spurt, how difficult was that to deal with initially for you?
It was pretty difficult because I started out like in 8th grade. I was on the B team, and I was a guard. I was like 6 foot. And then coming into high school, growing like 7 inches, I was probably 6'6", 6'7". And then just trying to just get used to my body because that's just crazy. Like you go from shooting threes to not even being able to shoot the ball at all. So it's just weird how that works.
What do you think you have to work on? I mean, obviously you're moving on this summer, moving down to Bloomington, and going to start your freshman season at IU. What do you think you really have to work on going into your initial season down in Bloomington?
Definitely just getting in the weight room, just working on my motor. I think expanding my range are probably the biggest things that I need to work on for next year.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, your left hand is going to just mess everybody up. Left-handers screw everybody up, and especially left-handers that are 6'9" and are as versatile as you are. I mean, that's a great gift to have right there.
Yes, sir.
It's Trace Jackson Davis with us. He's the Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. Hey, is Rick Clark the worst player you've ever played in a pickup game with in your life? Is that true?
He's up there. I ain't gonna lie to you. He's up there.
Hey, I'm just curious. I'm curious because a lot of people would ask, and here's what's funny. I got like this question to ask you that 5 times over a text. That's what's amazing. That's the type of effect that he has on people around there. You know that.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know.
How special has the time been? Because it is being around that place and knowing everybody. It has been just a big family for you as you've gone through high school. How special has that been?
Yeah, just going through high school, everyone's really supportive down there at Center Grove. We're all a huge family. All the athletes support all the athletes. I really think the teachers are really supportive as well, and just the whole community was behind my back this season.
How did Eric Moore ever try to get you to play football?
He talked about it a little bit freshman year, and then I just decided not to. I really wanted to play this year, but my dad didn't let me. So.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm normally a big-time fan of somebody being a multi-sport athlete, but there are differences. You know what I mean? I mean, when you grow like you did, there are just kind of differences. Yeah. Maybe I should go ahead and stay where I am. How excited are you to play in Bloomington for Archie Miller and IU?
I'm really excited. I'm one of the best fans in the country. Great facilities and just such a nice arena. I can't wait to get down there and start working.
What sold you on the program? What sold you on Archie too?
Just really just the way that they approached me. They approached me as their top guy, and it being so close to home as well, and the fans behind my back. I'd say those are just the biggest 3 things.
It's Trace Jackson Davis. Did your phone blow up last night?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I bet. Well, listen, I'm really happy for you. I mean, I'm really knowing, everybody that we all know down there. I know that everybody feels the same way. And thanks for popping on here. And we'll do this more times than we don't. I'm really excited about you playing so close to home and making your mark down in Bloomington. And we'll be watching, too. Tell the family we said hello. Tell your Uncle Kevin we said hello. And I'm going to be looking for you tomorrow night at 9, all right?
Yes, sir. Most
Hey, the damn dentist makes me pay $100 to pay over there. Do I suck that bad? What the heck? Come on, dentist. Hey, Trace, congratulations. Job well done. We'll talk again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's Trace Jackson Davis on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Yeah, he is a really nice kid. Got a little brother that plays in the program too, who's equally as nice. I'm just really happy for him. You're happy. You're happy for genuinely good folks, and they are genuinely good folks. And you just kind of see him, just mature right there. Somebody that wants to work on his game. And I'm going to tell you what, that left hand he got a devastating left hand. It is legit. Trace Jackson Davis. Thanks to Ray and everybody over there, too, for doing that, too. And Rick, by the way, true story, Rick Clark, I got 4 texts that wanted me to ask that question. That was not all on me. Don't blame me for that. Quick break. We'll come back. Stephen Holder, Colts stuff. We'll talk to Stephen about that. I'll ask him. A lot of you guys are kind of weighing in on Deion Kane, and I'll put that question to Stephen of The Athletic coming up at the top of the hour. Back with you next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big.
Trace Jackson Davis of Center Grove. He's the State of Indiana Mr. Basketball, and he's going to IU. Joined us. Podcast, if you missed it, 1070thefan.com. He's a good kid. I know his uncle Kevin, who works down at Skillman, is just a fantastic dude. And family. It's a great family. But yeah, I'm going to hear that one. That is pretty strong, though. All right, some NBA postseason. We can dive into that. The Reds a winner today. They beat the Giants at Great American Ballpark, and we're getting set for the Grand Prix coming up on is Saturday. Saturday? What time is it Saturday? Sorry about that. Kyle Udemark's going to have to get used to me asking him questions that he's not necessarily ready for. That's my fault. Yep, I see it right up there. Saturday, coverage begins at noon. Coverage begins with me at noon, by the way. With me. I guess I should know. Like 15 people have told me here. Noon on Saturday. Getting ready for the Grand Prix. Trackside, Talk of Gasoline Alley, 7 and 8 respectively tonight. And here's the thing about Talk of Gasoline Alley. Donald Davidson obviously is the draw there because he's spectacular. But our friend Tony Donahue, who spent 8 years as the producer of this show and now goes to the morning with Jeff and Big Joe beginning at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday here on FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan. Tony is the host of Talk of Gasoline Alley. That is at 8 o'clock tonight. I've got stuff to give away. I'll explain that to you and more coming up in a second. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is from The Athletic. He covers the Colts. He is Stephen Holder with us. I get peppered with Deion Kane questions often. What is the latest? Because last check, everybody's pretty happy with his progress. What's the latest, and what do you expect from him once he returns from that injury and gets a chance to play?
So I saw Deion on Saturday. He was in the building, so he's not taking a lot of days off, so that's good. And look, he's at the, I don't want to say the tail end of his rehab, but he's well into the rehab. And remember, this injury happened in August, so by the time they get to training camp, he's going to be a year out. So I got to think by then. Look, not all ACLs are created the same, so no two people recover on the exact same timetable. And I always impress that upon people. Always remember that. However, that being said, if history is an indicator, when you're a year out and you're a young guy like he is and the rehab's going well, he should be able to participate. So that's the goal. The goal is to get him back for training camp, and they feel pretty good about that right now. And look, there's two questions with Deion. When does he get back? And then the second question is the one we can't answer, which is what's he going to look like? And we just don't know. Look, I mean, it takes time coming off those ACL injuries now, okay, because I think Malik Hooker is a great example. Malik Hooker really didn't flash, I felt like, for the first half of last season. And I thought he really got his legs under him. And if you talk to coaches, they felt maybe by mid-season he started to look like himself. It took a while. So Deion's got time on his side, so that's good. But, look, I think we should have measured expectations for him coming out of the gate.
Stephen Holder of The Athletic, he joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Speaking of measured expectations, frankly, here in May, there's not a lot of them. As far as this season is concerned for the Colts, it's a level of excitement, and I do get it, but you do have to slow things down just a little bit, don't you?
I mean, what are you trying to do? You trying to hurt business? I don't
mean to.
I want to keep the train going.
I don't mean to. I said this a little. Yeah, listen, you're right. Go ahead.
No. I'm joking. Listen, let's be honest. Listen, nobody should be crowning anybody right now. Okay, let's just be clear. All right. Now, that is the preface to what I'm about to say. What I would add is that this team has an opportunity. They can play with anybody. There's no question about that. And I think last year, the problem with the Colts, or one of their problems, was depth. They didn't have a lot of it. And I think if you think about what's happened this offseason, whether we're talking about Devin Funchess or this draft, I think the the emphasis in this offseason was about creating depth. So now think about this. You had a linebacker situation last year where, okay, why did they draft all these linebackers, right? Because I was scratching my head initially too. But I think, look at these linebackers. Last year at the end of the preseason, they had Darius Leonard, Anthony Walker, and a bunch of who's that guy. Okay? I'm just telling you, it was outside of the two guys who are the core guys, that position was the weakest position on the team. And I'm talking about including wide receiver. All right? That's how I think big the drop-off was from their two primary guys to the remaining guys in that room. Well, let's talk about what they've got now. And then granted, we haven't seen Bobby Okereke and some of these guys play yet, but certainly these are highly drafted guys, all right? Second and third round picks in the case of Ben Banogu and Bobby Okereke. So, I mean, unless these guys are bust, they're going to really fuel the competition in that room. So think about that now, extrapolate that into the secondary, where now they've drafted two corners, a safety. And let me tell you, I think Kari Willis is a guy who people are going to, I think, is going to open some eyes. Maybe he makes this thing interesting in the preseason. Marvell Tell is one of the guys who coaches really had a lot to say about. I talked to some people behind the scenes coming out of rookie camp, and he was a name that came up. So just think about how they've upgraded the competition and the depth. You had a lot of injuries at the early part of last season, and what happened? The Colts went 1-5, and the injuries were a big reason why. They've upgraded their depth, and that is how you withstand injuries, and the best teams are the teams that can weather those storms.
Stephen Older, The Athletic, joins us. All right, here's another big one. Here's another May thought, and I'm sure you probably received this question via Twitter, email, or what have you, but if the Colts have a huge season in which they upgrade, let's say, they get to the AFC title game, let's just say for the heck of the argument here, we would have to suggest that Andrew Luck is probably going to play at a level in which he would be MVP conversation worthy. Is that what we'd be thinking about in your belief?
Well, look, I thought last year what he did last season was great. It was phenomenal. And let's put that in perspective, though. He did that coming off of an offseason where he didn't throw a football, right? And when we went out there for the first day of training camp, the question was, all right, is Andrew Luck ready for this? And then the guy goes out there and he flings the ball around like he hadn't missed a day, right? So now he's going to have an entire offseason. He's going to have a whole season of work in the offense, orchestrating it, learning it, and now he's going to really be an expert in that offense. Last year he was not, and Frank Reich has said that Andrew Luck in many cases deferred to Frank Reich. Now what Frank wants from Andrew is for Andrew to take the next step, which is to say, all right, here's what we're doing. Let's do this, or pull rank sometimes. He's okay with that, right? So when your quarterback becomes an expert in the offense, he can do that. And a guy of Andrew Luck's stature, they're comfortable with him making those kinds of statements. So I think you're going to see a progression with Andrew Luck this year. If he takes a step forward, I don't know what the next step after last year is. The next step, as you said, is probably MVP level performance. But what I'm telling you, I don't think it's just because, he had a good year last year. I think really last year was much more of a challenge than I think we realized, because he's coming off the injury, no practice in the offseason, and a brand new offense. He has none of those issues this season.
It is amazing, too, because you go back and you think about in September, that Philadelphia game, for example, where Brissett came in to heave that Hail Mary at the end, and
right,
everybody lost their mind. You imagine where we sit right now, Stephen, compared to where we were this time last year. Talk about a 180.
Yeah, and I think really just I noticed something about Andrew Luck, too. Just it's not even physical. It's just his demeanor, right? And I think last year, I thought in the spring, he was in a pretty good place, but I think he still had this huge weight on his shoulders in terms of, the expectations and just the waiting and the long layoff and the questions. And I really think that took a toll on him. Look, I know he he puts on a good face, and he's a different guy, right? He doesn't read a lot of coverage. He's not on social media and all that. So I think he kind of is able to stay away from a lot of this. But there's no question. He knew it was there. And now that has been removed, I think you see a different Andrew Luck. And I'm going to tell you something. Look, he knows that it's been a while since they've won anything meaningful around here. He knows it, and Andrew Luck wants it. I'm going to tell you something. He definitely is a guy who is compartmentalized and doesn't get too, sort of bogged down into being a football player only. We know about his many layers and all that, but don't ever mistake Andrew Luck for a guy who doesn't want to win and win it all. This guy, I'm telling you, he would run through a brick wall to win a Super Bowl, and I think he's prepared to do it.
Stephen Oler of The Athletic, he's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You thought about how they're going to utilize, as long as it continues to go in this direction and he's on the roster, which we assume he will be, Spencer Ware, the veteran, with other guys? Because I do like the balance they have in their backfield, and I thought it was necessary to get somebody, even though I like Marlon Mack, because more than likely he's going to miss a game or two at some point of the season.
And I think that's what drove this, really was insurance, if you will. And again, he's got to make the team, as you said, and Spencer Ware's got his own health issues or questions, I guess, right? So we'll see how he fares. But I think really it was about depth, frankly. Look, they really like Marlon Mack, and I think they are invested in Marlon Mack. And the Colts would tell you that Marlon Mack, if not for missing a couple games last year, he's probably a 1,000-yard rusher. They're right about that. I would also say that Marlon Mack showed, I thought, huge gains in his game last year. And I think as much as anybody on the roster, Marlon Mack was a guy who made as big a jump last year as anybody from 2017 to 2018. So I think he should be credited for that. Really, the only question for Marlon Mack is staying healthy. I mean, he's got the good thing for Marlon is he's not had major injuries. He's had these nagging hamstrings, calves, etc., and he's got to be able to weather those or really prevent them more than anything is what he's got to do. So, look, I mean, guys who are skill position players, who are speed guys, that tends to happen. And I just don't know that there's an answer to it. But maybe that's just something you're going to have to live with Marlon Mack. But I think, again, that's why Spencer Ware is here. I don't think he threatens Marlon Mack's role in any fashion. I think the guy who maybe gets impacted here is Jordan Wilkins. I think Nyheim Hines is going to be impacted this year as well. But frankly, the guy who's going to hurt him, in my estimation, is Paris Campbell, because there's a lot of, I think, intersection between their two skill sets.
What did Paris Campbell? I know that you were reporting from the rookie workouts this past weekend. What did Paris Campbell look like? We talked to Rock Ya-Sin on Friday, I believe it was, too. I don't know what you can take away from these, but I guess from what I understood, it was mostly positive.
Oh, no question. Look, I don't want to put too much stock in what Paris Campbell did, but I would tell you, people in the building. I got some feedback. I mean, I was there and I saw it, but I want to hear it from the experts. And I'm just telling you, they're in love, man. They love them some Paris Campbell. And look, I don't know if 3 practices, I don't know what you can glean from 3 practices necessarily as it relates to the regular season, because there's not really a lot of carryover from what they did this weekend to what they're going to do in September, right? But the one thing that was very important this past weekend was to look at the skill sets. And one of the things they saw from Paris Campbell was that, okay, this guy can run all the routes. This guy's not just a slot receiver. They can do a lot more with him. And I think that right there is what has them excited, because Ohio State, the feedback I'm getting is that Ohio State, I'm not going to criticize what they did, but it is a little bit of a head scratcher to the Colts as to why Ohio State used him the way they did and didn't use him in a broader fashion. There's a lot of people at Colts headquarters that are a little mystified about that. So that's a good thing, because those questions existed, but he's answering those questions. So let me tell you, they are thrilled with Paris Campbell. Rock Ya-Sin, I'll just add, the one thing you see with him is he is a competitor. He gets in your face. He is willing to compete, and that is what you want. You want a guy who's not scared, and he's going to go up and tackle you as well. That's the thing they saw about him on tape. Certainly, they weren't tackling this weekend, but that has been something that he has demonstrated as a college player, and they're really excited because you have to tackle as a defensive back in this Colts defense.
Are there any comparison names out there? Because I haven't heard any as far as Paris Campbell is concerned. Have you?
Not really. That's a good point. I really haven't. I don't know. But the one thing I would say, though, is I would say this. I just talked about him being more than just a slot receiver. And I will admit to not being an expert on Paris Campbell, if you can believe that, before this draft. But here's what I would tell you. Because he was sort of characterized as a slot guy, speed guy, I kind of envisioned a guy who was going to walk in and kind of be small and maybe not very impressive physically. And then I met him, and I was wrong, okay? Paris Campbell's a big guy. They list him at, I think, 208, and I thought he was at least 208 pounds. Now, I mean, this guy has a muscular build, and he's not short. He's 6 feet tall, a full 6 feet. So this guy is not T.Y. Hilton physically, not at all. He's on the other end of the spectrum, I think, from T.Y. Hilton. And that was what struck me. I was like, whoa, wait, you're Paris Campbell? So I was actually very thrilled to see that because I think with him, now you can start to understand when you see his physical attributes. Now you can understand, okay, I see why they get him the ball in the open field and let him run through people because he can do that. I mean, that's not necessarily his job description, but if he has to, he can put his head down and he can power through people. So, I mean, at 208 pounds, he's not going to be an easy guy for small DBs to bring down.
The Chuck Strong Gala is on Thursday, and they continue that even after Chuck is now gone and is the defensive coordinator in Chicago. It is interesting because you don't normally see that, not just around the NFL, but in teams in general. I think it's pretty cool they continue that, even though Chuck for a couple of years has been gone.
Yeah, and I think the credit for that is it goes to Jim Irsay. I mean, it's really that cause, I think, really became personal for Jim, obviously, going through that situation with Chuck in 2012. And look, they may not have – their relationship may not have – or I guess their business relationship may not have ended on good terms. Obviously, he fired the guy, right? But I do think that when you talk to Chuck, he doesn't have a lot of ill will toward this organization. Now, he may have ill will to one particular guy, and we'll leave that alone for another day. But
so he won't be at the gala on Thursday. Is what you're saying?
He's invited.
Yeah,
I don't think he's invited. But he doesn't have ill will toward the organization. And I don't know if you've talked to Chuck. I mean, I've talked to Chuck since he's departed, and I've never gotten the sense that he has any ill will toward the organization. It just didn't work out, And so I think Chuck, both parties are, I think, really mature about this. Chuck and Jim Irsay, and that's why they can make this work. You're right. It is a really unique situation for a guy to be working for another organization and still to carry on this tradition here. So I give them a lot of credit. It's a great cause. They've raised millions of dollars. And, yeah, man, kick the hell out of cancer. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, too. And it was such a great rise. And, they go to the AFC title game, and it was on schedule. And then even before, and I guess you can kind of equate this to Luck taking way too many hits, but that's, then it kind of fell apart. So you go from 0 to 60 and back down to 0 again. That's tough. I mean, that'd be tough to deal with as a coach.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, here's what I'd say. Look, Chuck had a hand in it too, and that's part of the problem. I mean, so he's got to sort of bear some of the burden for that. But you're right. I mean, you wish it could have worked out, because you had a great ride. You had a team that looked like it was destined to do something, but in the end, they just didn't have enough, and they didn't do enough as coaches, as leadership of the organization to keep that thing going, and protecting that quarterback was part of that duty, and they didn't get it done. So that's why we are where we are, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that's that's the way to put it. That's where we are. It's amazing though to see the national input of where they have raised the bar, and it's also a little bit tough. And I'm not trying to squash anybody's great feelings about it because it's been a long time since they've had this early great feelings before the start of a season, but. At the same time, if you're at that Arrowhead game in January, you still understand how far it felt they were away. But you feel good about these additions, no question.
Yeah, and look, I think, again, last year, as I said, I really feel like it was supposed to be a transition year anyway. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Obviously, it mattered, and that loss hurt. However, that they were ahead of schedule, and I think really it's the second year when you start to really feel comfortable in the schemes and the systems. The coaches understand each other. Take, for example, even just the understanding going into the draft between the scouts and the coaches understanding each other and talking the same language. That wasn't really the case last year. Now, they still had a hell of a draft, so if they do better than that, then I don't know what to tell you. But my point is that was a challenge last year in spite of the success they had. So every little thing gets easier over time, when you've got your program going, and you've got your everything everyone's on the same page, I guess is what I'm getting at. So your systems, offense, defense. I mean, you think this defense, you think these players, these young players, you think they're going to be better in year one or year two in the system? I mean, it's obvious, right? They should be better this year, at least better equipped to perform well. They've got to do it, but in terms of the scheme and understanding and experience, they're going to be better positioned this year. So I like their chances. They've got more going for them this year than they did last year.
Are you going over there to cover that event Thursday?
I just got the email today. I think I may have to go over there. Yeah, I always like catching up with Chuck, so why not?
Well, stop by because I'm going to be doing the show out there too. I talked to him back in October, I think, and he doesn't like to do, and I wouldn't either. I mean, I don't blame him. He doesn't like to discuss or get into too much detail, and really, the only stories that people haven't heard besides you and I around here are the ones where he has to go into full detail and just doesn't want to, and I don't blame him. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, I saw him at Reggie's get-together when Reggie went in the Ring of Honor, and Chuck came back in town for that. Now, you didn't come to the game on Sunday because that would have been awkward, but but he made sure to show up at the dinner that weekend to honor Reggie. I mean, they're close and have been for a long time. And look, as I said, he was embraced by everybody at that event, and that was all Colts people. So. I'm actually not surprised they're still keeping Chuck Strong going. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, always a pleasure. We'll see you out there. Just stop by and we'll have a conversation on Thursday when you're out there.
All right, my man. Sounds good.
Gotcha. Stephen Holder of The Athletic is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. That is always good. Hey, JMV. Are there any 1070 Colts fan gathering in the field at either of the races this month? I don't really have anyone to go the race with and would love to find a group to join. Well, I'll be out there. I'm doing the show out there on Saturday at noon, but I'll be out there for Carb Day, where it's always awesome. And by the way, the Carb Day, the shop in Broad Ripple, Carb Day t-shirts, the JMV Sucks t-shirts, if you have seen them, they are outstanding. And I hope you enjoy them. Go out and get them right now and wear them on Carb Day with pride because I'll be rocking mine. The shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel and their warehouse on the east side, they've been doing Carb Day shirts for me, and it is awesome. The whole JMV Sucks Carb Day shirt, the latest is fantastic. I'll retweet it out in a little bit. But we want to see everybody out at Pagoda Plaza for Carb Day be rocking those shirts. For sure. They're fantastic. I saw Andrew Battle down in Birmingham, Alabama, just purchased his. All right, what do you think? You want to do some Anything Goes? I've been getting a lot of requests for Anything Goes. I'm going to Kyle Udemark's first day with me here. What do you think? You don't really have to do anything. You just sit back. I handle it all. What do you think?
Let's go. Last half hour?
All right, we'll do it. Final 30 or close to it here. My way, your way, anything goes. Here's what happens. It is me. You call it 239-1070. You say whatever you want. It is the most unfiltered segment of the history of indie radio. There is zero comparison. I mean, none. 239-1070. Anything goes with the newbie here, Kyle Udemark. He doesn't check you in. The first thing you're going to hear is me going to you after you dial 239-1070 and get in. We also have some prizes to give away. I'll explain that, and we'll do some Anything Goes next.
Talk of Gasoline Alley on 1070 and 107.
Category at 239-1070. It is anything goes. You're on the air. Who is this?
Hey, it's Pops. How you doing, JMV?
Great. Thanks for calling in. We got some good stuff here because Kyle's a newbie.
Hey, well, good luck to Kyle, but I just want to sound mad at 1070 for changing the damn schedule around.
You are. What are you mad about? Why are you mad?
They took my Golick and Wingo off early, and then they put Dan Leotard on for 2 hours before noon. It's like nobody likes that guy anyway.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. You don't like listening to little Golick talk, do you? Doesn't that wear you out all the time?
No,
little Golick?
No, I listen.
Little Golick?
Oh, not little Golick. I like big Golick and Wingo. They're pretty good.
Golick Jr. would wear you. That'd have to wear you out for 4 hours, man.
Yeah, but he ain't on there for 4 hours. It's
Listen, now you got my boy Tony Donahue in the morning now with Jeff and Joe.
I'm glad they stick Dan Leotard in there. What's up with that?
Well, I think it's to bridge the gap. Hell, I don't know.
Why don't they make you guys work a little extra? Give you an extra hour.
I do work. I work all the time. That's all I do. It's like I work at Jackhammer, right? I just sit here and talk for 3 hours like I do anything at all. Exactly. Right. Now you're not upset enough. I did see some tweets and some messages suggesting we're never going to listen again. You're not in that category, right?
Oh, hell no. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And one more thing.
Yes.
They need to have you out every damn Friday so I can get out and drink some beer.
There is no doubt about that. I'm telling you, you come on Carb Day, and that's when we build the beer pyramid. Come out, and we'll have some beers, many a beers in Pagoda Plaza. But you're right. I do need to be out every Friday, and we do need to drink beer every Friday. You're right.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Pops, thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Anything goes at 239, you son of a. Anything goes. Who's this? You're on the air.
It's Anthony, man. Odie, what's going on?
OD, what's happening?
So I wanted to call. Man, I love Levitard. Tell that last caller he's an idiot. They're way better than Golick and Wingo. I couldn't agree more with you.
Here's the thing with Levitard, right? Some of the stuff is good. I would agree. But they do talk at great length, and I mean hours upon hours, about blank that's going on in their studio that probably not a lot of people care about. That's going to be a tough sell. And I think, are they not a really far left lean? So I know a lot of folks that are stiff in the ass around here probably won't dig on that too much.
Absolutely.
So that's what I gather. So I mean, it doesn't bug me. I'm not head over heels about it though, Anthony. So whatever. It's fine with me though. I have no problem.
Can I complain about one thing?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Do it.
Made up holidays that our Caucasian brethren have come up with excuses to act fools for.
Okay.
We need to rein that in a little bit, all right? Cinco de Mayo, St. Patrick's Day. Jesus, guys, get a hold of yourselves and quit making yourselves look like idiots.
So, what do you mean? You're talking about people that go out on those holidays and just get blank-faced, right?
Yeah. Or go to particular establishments and, treat the employees like crap.
Did you have to deal with some jackassery this weekend? Is that what you're suggesting?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you what, alcohol to dudes, especially.
Not everybody can drink and be cool like you, John.
There's no doubt of it's exactly right. And I have learned from those before me that if you drink alcohol in excess and you turn jackass, that there's going to be a punishment. You know what I mean? And I've been punished for that before. So that's why I've learned from that. And now I drink. And when I drink excessively, it's all cool. So, yes.
Well, you know what? To get wasted and look like a fool nowadays, you get that on social media. People love it.
Yeah, man. Somebody put my shorts in the damn freezer once upon a time, man. That was a bunch of crap. So, and I mean, you just learn from stuff like that. I mean, back in the day, you get blank faced in front of people, and you're going to be dealt with. You know what I mean? And in different ways than what you are now with just social media embarrassment. So.
Hey, man, tell Kyle best of luck. I know Tony's not too hard to replace, so he should be all right?
Yep. I think Kyle, thank you, Odie. Good to talk with you. What do you think? Kyle, you having fun so far?
Yeah. I'm glad to hear Tony's not hard to replace.
If you have, If you have any questions for Kyle, if you want to have an anything goes question for Kyle, 239-1070, you can do that as we go with more unfiltered conversation. You're on the air. Who's this?
This is Aaron. Mike Golick Jr. is literally the worst radio, TV, whatever that show is, personality. He's riding Dad's coattails to a position that no one wants to listen to him talk at all. Ever.
I'm not going to argue with you one bit because he wore me out.
Oh my gosh. Like, that dude has more to complain about. Like, he's actually done something in his life than anyone that I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, his dad was a pro football player. You've never had to work a day in your life. You know, act like the world is falling apart when something happens you don't agree with. He is so whiny. So
he whiny. You know what? Le Batard does do some stuff. I like, I like pop culture and things like that. So it's all good. I don't get overworked about any of this stuff, to be honest.
Yeah,
so.
I know. But Le Batard, here's the thing that got me on Le Batard. A few years ago, of course, I was a big proponent of, or I was a member of the G2 Zone when Paul and George were here.
Yeah.
And one year, some of the guys had some images of LeBron and Dwayne Wade with like bras on and pacifiers in their mouth. And Dan Le Batard called us racist because that was, and I was just like, really? Like, that's really, really.
Yeah, you know what, though? Cowherd did the same. I remember Cowherd, when he fired up again his show in this market, he lob some references here too. So
Le Batard bothered me when he said that, but I listened today, and I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy it. The best part about it, they read a Twitter comment about somebody's wife complaining that, like, how can you listen to the show? It's not about anything, and he said that's the point, and it's exactly right, because it's really not about anything. So, and it's kind of nice. It kind of breaks it up a little bit. You're just like listening to it's like a sports version of Bob and Tom almost.
I got you, Aaron. Thank you for the call. If you're looking for it, or if you really don't like, you're going to find jackassery in all of us. I mean, every last one of us. There's a lot of crap right now. People are going, God, this segment's terrible. JMV's a blank off. I mean, I guarantee you. And probably going to tweet it at me in a minute. If you want to find it, you're going to find it. I don't get all bent out of shape. And I'll be completely honest with you. When I get to deal with a show that's not screaming and yelling and shaking its fist about bull crap, or always being mad, or always having to be surrounded by chaos, or whining about the whiners, I don't mind it no matter what it is. I'll deal with it. That's just me. Line 5 is anything goes at 239-1070. Hello, how are you?
What's up, JMV?
Go ahead.
Hey, quick question for you. So I know that you're a big...
No doubt about it. Anything goes at 239-1070. Anything goes at 239-1070. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Snake Pit. This is Brian. Snake Pit Juice Brian.
Oh, man. I'm ready. I am ready for it. Did you know, Snake Pit Juice Brian, did you know that we are scheduled to have somebody propose to somebody up on stage, and then Clayton Anderson on Carb Day is going to sing a song for them? So we are having a proposal of marriage, and CA is going to serenade them afterwards. This is going to be a very special edition of Snake Pit Juice Brian and Carb Day 2019 at the track.
I love it. I got to get that junk back from you from last year, though, so I can get it.
Oh, you want me to bring it? It's still in my garage, man. It's still in my garage.
Well,
I don't know if I even cleaned it out. It still may have the juice in it.
Hey, that just adds for better flavor.
Hey, how about if I bring it? I bring it and we dare somebody to drink it from last year.
We could do that, too.
I think we might do that. That's a hell of a plan. Yeah. Hey.
Well, there might be some liability issues.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll make them sign a waiver or something. It'll be all right.
I'm wondering if Kyle's prepared to fill Tony's shoes. I don't think he can do it.
Kyle, are you prepared to fill Tony's shoes over there?
I've heard the legend of Tony and the snake pit shoes, so we'll have to see.
Man, Tony's going to be out there with us this year. You know that, right?
Oh, that's great.
It's going to be.
Disappointed if we didn't see him.
It's going to be absurd. Yes, be ready.
Look, we did an event you remember my dog Dixie that you met a couple times?
You got it.
We did an event with the Dixons the other day, and Emma was asking about it. I told her I'd be ready.
Was it Emma was asking about me?
She was asking about you and the Jews.
Yeah,
She was going to be there Thursday, and I said, yep.
We love Emma Dixon. We do. All right, Brian, be ready. I'll bring that jug.
All right, brother. We'll see you.
Thank you. Now, would I have to get somebody to sign a waiver? I think I still have his jug of snake pit juice from last year with the snake pit juice still in it. Could I find anybody out there that would take a swig or take a drink of it? And can I do it without being sued? Because I don't want to be Dr. Lawsuit here. What do you think? Is that a good call or a bad call?
That is, I guarantee you that would make someone so sick.
Yeah, but I mean, more than likely, the way that they're acting out there, they're going to barf anyway. So if you're going to barf, if it's inevitable,
you
whatever.
just gotta find someone that's really drunk.
Anything Goes continues, final segment, and I'm going to give away some tickets coming up on the other side too. Sit tight.
Mecum Auctions provides you a chance to win a free behind-the-scenes tour with Big Joe.
Take 3. Hey, JMV, I thought Tony was moving into the 10 to 12 time slot. No? Tony, bright and early. I called Tony this morning at 5:59. He was already up and going. Hey, JMV, the best place to go if you don't like Le Batard is to tune into the DP show. I don't tell anybody to go listen to anybody else's programming but ours or mine. I'm sorry, Jeff. That's just me. JMV, folks need to give Le Batard some time. The show is great, kind of like yours. 90s movie, baseball talk, pop culture, etc. Takes time to get some, and I would agree it does take time to get used to it. JMV, I disagree with the caller. Golick and Wingo are exhausting. Loving the new schedule. Might need to find a new late morning show, though. I'm with the caller in that respect. Seven says that segment was way too long. Sevens, you can take a big old smooch off of my butt and enjoy it. It was perfect. Perfect. Anything goes at 239-1070. Hello, who's this? You're on. Wonderful. Anything goes at 239-1070. Who's this?
Justin from Bloomington.
Justin from Bloomington, Indiana. Go ahead.
Hey, man, remember me? We talked at Big Red Liquors.
Big Red Liquors. Justin, I remember this vividly. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's going on with Matt Kemp from the Reds, man? I'm a big Red fan just like you.
They released him because he didn't fit. Yeah.
Okay. Man, the Reds are looking pretty good. I'm glad they're looking pretty good.
Well, I wish they would look better. I wish they hadn't blown 2 games over the weekend that they absolutely needed to. I wish. That was bad. But there are times when they get you thinking like they got something going.
Yeah. Hey, man, love the show, man.
Thank you, my friend Justin in Bloomington. Good to see you. That's back in October, I think. Anything goes. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, John, this is D. Darnell. How you doing, man?
Darnell
hey,
Booker.
John, listen to me, John. Then you can talk when I'm done. I know. Look, I love everybody at this. I love everybody there at the station. I get it. If you guys are truly a sports station, I've met Jeff Rickards and all that stuff and everybody like that. And I know you guys have families and you talk about your kids' softball game, but give the Thunder a little bit of love. I understand we're not the Colts Pacers in college. I get all that, and I know about ratings. I know about this. I know about that. I'm just saying give the Indy Thunder a little bit of love. I mean, there's reports I put out there for you guys. We just came back from San Antonio. We would like to be mentioned a little bit, but like I said, if you guys are Indy sports station, let's see, can you guys just back it up a little bit more? Thanks, John.
Darnell Booker, the Indy Thunder beat ball and their golf outing, which is coming up, the 3rd annual golf outing with Darnell. JMV, I love women. Cole McDaniel, right back at you. Anything goes, line 4. You're on the air. Who's this? Go ahead.
Hey, JMV, this is Mark.
Mark.
I am stuck in traffic on the north side, but wasn't calling to give you a traffic report. Just calling. When are we going to have a guest experience from MPOS again?
With MPOS or with me? Like MPOS with me? What do you mean?
No, the original.
Oh, get Mark. You know what? That's a good call. I'll get Mark on here at some point here. I think
you have Drew on all the time. But
yeah,
you need the original.
How about I do that? Normally we do that in the summertime, and I can't remember if I did it last year or not. But yeah, he's enjoying live big time now.
Oh,
down in South Carolina. Yeah, he's the most talented dude that's ever been around here. There's no question about that.
Oh, we were lucky to have him, and and you know what? Mike and Mike could have been Mike and Mark.
It could have. He tried out. He tried out long ago. Yeah, so did Tony Bruno. Yeah. So yeah, he was on there. He was on there with Golick for a week, and they chose Greenberg. I think that was back in 99 or 2000, right?
Yeah. Well, MPOS was too smart. Made Golick look bad.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll do that, man. No doubt.
All righty. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for calling. We got to run here. We got time. How much longer we got left in this? Huh? Give me 10 seconds of great content. Go ahead.
JMV, I called Tony D at 8:35 this morning to let him know that he's still.
Wonderful. Stephen Older, Trace Jackson Davis, Kyle Udemark, great job. Tony, Jeff, and Joe tomorrow morning at 7.
Fast, reliable internet. Is that important to your business?
We couldn't work without it.
At Comcast Business, we go beyond fast with amazing solutions and a great deal.